We're going to talk now about crossing the border. That's right. Your next trip to the United States. You better have a good, compelling reason to be going there, or you might be turned back. Now, you would think that volunteering to help people who were hurt by Hurricane Sandy back in 2012, but it's still affecting communities in the U.S., you'd think that volunteering would be a really great reason to let someone come into your country. They want to help you. Apparently not. A group of church volunteers from Hamilton who were heading south to do relief work connected to Hurricane Sandy were stopped at the border, and they were told that you needed to get a letter to Border Patrol telling them what they were going to be doing there, that the work they would do would not be compensated. A spokesperson for the group said the Border Patrol officer, who treated them cordially, told the group he'd grant them an exception and let them through if their host church managed to fax or email a letter right away saying that their trip was completely voluntary. Unfortunately, the first letter was not deemed to be specific enough, and they were prevented from going down there because they were told that as foreigners, they'd be taking American jobs and there was no pressing need for relief work because Hurricane Sandy hit the area in 2012. Well, since when are U.S. border guards making judgments on jobs and hurricane zones and this kind of thing? A U.S. border spokesperson said the refusal came down to documentation and that you need documentation in advance to do humanitarian work. But still, the group is very frustrated, and they say they've never had this problem before. They're attributing it, pretty much to the new climate at the border. So to find out more about this, shed some light on it, we're joined now by Cassandra Fultz. She is a regulated immigration consultant here in Canada at Doherty Fultz Immigration Inc. and Immigroup. Welcome to the show.
Hi there. Thanks so much for having me.
Hi. So, Cassandra, were the border guards justified in turning away this volunteer church group?
So I believe that they were. What people need to keep in mind is that work is really defined as an activity that competes in the labor market, okay? And so if this church group were going to be doing an activity such as light construction, that is competing in the labor market in the United States, and it does constitute work regardless of the fact that they were not being paid.
What about things like, a Habitat for Humanity project that people in the U.S. might do too? I mean, in theory, that takes away work from someone, doesn't it?
That does take away work from someone. However, it's in the United States and it's contained to the U.S. So it's not an international organization engaging in that work and taking work away from American citizens or permanent residents.
Okay. Now, this group said they'd been there many times. And in fact, they'd been working on this particular trip for several months. So they were shocked by this. It's never happened before. Is this something that is now happening more frequently, this greater, I guess, scrutiny or crackdown, if you will, because of the political situation in the U.S.?
I would say definitely not. I wouldn't even say that this is a crackdown. This kind of thing happens every single day. It really is an issue with someone not providing the documentation that was needed. And it's just the same if you go to the border without your passport, they're not going to let you in just because you didn't know you needed a passport. Mm-hmm. These are just, these are basic requirements. They're the same regulations that were, under President Obama, under President Bush, under President Clinton. Nothing has changed.
So are we just hearing more about it? Is it the media that's reporting this, or people reporting it to the media because they worry that this is some kind of change?
I think it's more of a case of someone not getting what they wanted and complaining about it.
Okay. Well, clearly they didn't, and the group there didn't either. Want to ask you, though, there's, other people are saying they're not going to go to the United States now because they are concerned that the border is being tightened up. What do you say to them?
I don't think that that's the case at all. Of course, I encourage anyone to visit the United States. There's no reason not to. Just make sure that you're following the rules.
And those rules would be, in this case, you said, get proof that you're doing volunteer work. What if the Girl Guides of Canada are canceling all their trips because they're concerned that some of their students might be stopped. There was a case of a student who was stopped going to a sports meet because there was an issue of he was born outside the country, even though he was a Canadian citizen, and he was stopped and not allowed to go over. So, are there concerns, valid concerns? I mean, the Girl Guides, going too far on this, but are there concerns that people could be stopped by a misinterpretation, perhaps even, of the rules by border guards?
Well, that's unfortunate that the Girl Guides would cancel all of their trips to the United States, and it's most unfortunate for the Girl Guides themselves because it's really the administrator's job to make sure that they have the proper documentation in place. Obviously, there are tons of people crossing the border every day, so not every single decision that's made by a border guard is going to be bang on every time, but that being said, the border guards are highly trained. They know their work. They know the regulations. And most of the time, they're going to do the right thing.
Okay, well, we hope they do. And we want to thank you very much, Cassandra Fultz, regulated Canadian immigration consultant at Doherty Fultz Immigration, Inc. and Immigroup for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. That's interesting, because we hear so many of these stories popping up now. But maybe it's just a question that either the rules didn't get our attention as much before. Maybe we just, is it just the fact that our bad media is like jumping on every single story? This is, I think, why people may not trust the media as much because they accuse us of looking at things with a particular lens.